Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the news on Equinoxe Television in the English language. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Stories tonight. Prices of goods of basic necessities, especially foodstuff, continue to witness significant increase in markets across the national territory. The prices of pepper and gari have drastically increased in the past few weeks, causing the common man to find it hard feeding their families, especially during this holiday period. Our reporters were at some markets here in Douala, and we'll be telling you more in this edition of the news. Plus, at least 13 persons have been killed in Nigeria as the entire country continues a nationwide protest. They are decrying the high cost of living in that country, and meantime, Nigerians in the UK today stormed the country's embassy in London. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We just told you a while ago that prices of goods of basic necessities, especially foodstuff, gari, and also pepper, have witnessed increase in markets across the national territory. Our reporter Smart Jikan Gabriel made a stop over at some markets here in the economic capital Douala, where he spoke with some housewives who told him that it's now very difficult for them to feed their families, especially during this holiday period. His report. We come back to this report by Smart Njikan Gabriel, who tells us that prices of goods of basic necessities have witnessed a drastic increase in markets across Cameroon, especially the prices of pepper, gari, and other foodstuff. He was at the Marché Daido, or the new Daido market, here in the economic capital Douala, where he met with some housewives who told him that during this holiday period, it is very difficult for them to feed their families.
Housewives now find it difficult to do shopping for their household as a result of the increase in prices of basic commodities. From Monday to Friday, we are in the market. Prices keep increasing. Before, with 50,000 francs, one could do shopping for 3 weeks, but it is difficult now. Rice, that was the most common and cheap meal in every household, is now a difficult meal to find on tables. A cup of rice is at 250 francs because a bag of rice is now 24,500 francs CFA. Before now, it was 17,000 francs CFA. Many people don't eat rice again, and even us, we are afraid buying it. Even maize that was sold at a low price has now witnessed an increase, causing an automatic rise in the prices of maize in the market. Prices have increased everywhere. Simple gari that was sold at 5,500 francs per bucket today is sold at 7,000 francs. Maize that we used to buy at 42,000 francs CFA per bag is now sold at 47,000 francs CFA. How do you want me to sell and make profit? Gari, maize and rice are not the only commodities that have witnessed increase. Pepper has also seen its price raised, and the reason is the wholesalers tell us that the chemicals used to grow them have become expensive, and there is a section of the country where cultivation is done and another without cultivation. The buyers have put the blame of the price increase on the government. Is not doing its work well, and also the traders who prefer to sell to outsiders, particularly those from Gabon, because they pay more, and the leftover they sell to us at expensive rates. With the increase, many housewives believe that if nothing is done, they might go hungry in the nearest future.
Still talking on the plight of the common man in Cameroon, moving from one neighborhood to the other in Goma. Goma is a locality in the Douala 3 subdivision In the littoral region, it has become a tedious task due to the muddy and slippery nature of the roads in that area. And apart from the poor state of the roads, inadequate power supply is also one of the challenges faced by the population. These plights and many others were presented to the mayor, who was on a working visit to Ngoma. Immaculate Forgate tells us more in the report which comes up next.
Residents of Goma, a locality in the Douala 3 subdivision, expressed frustration over the deteriorating state of roads connecting Goma to other parts of the town. The coming of the rains has worsened the state of the road, making it difficult for road users to circulate with ease. We don't have good roads. It's been raining for the past 3 weeks, and it has worsened the state of our roads. We recently contributed money and bought gravel for the road, yet the situation is getting worse. Another major challenge faced by the population is inadequate power supply provoked by worn-out electric poles. Residents fear that the poles may one day fall on them, which might lead to fatalities. Access to potable water is another major problem faced in the area. Every day lights go off. All our electrical appliances are bad. Several electric cables are damaged. Living here is really difficult. The other day, a vehicle splashed mud on my body while I was on my way to church. Please, they should fix our roads. Visiting the population of Goma, the representative of the mayor of Douala 3 acknowledged the fact that Goma is in need of a new facelift. He praised the decision of the traditional head to create a committee which will work in collaboration with the council in order to help develop the area. We wanted the villagers to be aware about the committee. We also wanted to reveal to the population the 15 projects which are of utmost importance. I want to encourage those who are part of the committee to be committed. The General Assembly will hold twice a year. Residents are hoping that their ordeals will be attended to within the shortest time possible so as to make life better for the population of Goma.
And now we talk politics. Registration on the electoral registers ahead of next year's elections will end on August 31 this year. There is no affluence. According to what we observed at most registration booths across the national territory, especially in the southwest region of the country, most politicians have devised other means to get the population registered on the electoral list. Let's now have more with Cedric Chakute. He now tells us what happens in Buea.
In Buea, in the southwest region, just like in other parts of the country, registration ahead of next year's election continue, though at a slow pace. Considering that the registration process has not been very buoyant in most registration centers, coupled with the fact that Elekam registration booths are somehow rare, political party members have devised various strategies to bring people together so they can register on the electoral list. It is the case with the MP for Buea Urban Constituency, Honorable Malomba Esembe, who organized a football encounter at the Moliko Stadium to permit citizens to register with Elekam.
Metropolitan Buea urban population to be one, support our teams and remain one people even when our teams are defeated. And of course, thirdly, we are calling on all those who have not yet registered that the deadline is around the corner, August 31st. So let us use this opportunity to register.
1 month to the end of the registration process for next year's presidential election, Cameroonians have been advised to ensure that they perform this very important civic responsibility of registering on electoral registers.
And now it is 1 month exactly for the resumption of the academic year 2024-2025, and parents and also students are doing all they can so as to avoid last-minute rush. Though some parents complain of the difficulties they face to buy some school needs, others say they are waiting for last-minute preparations as well. Cedric Chakute once again went to some bookshops here in the economic capital Douala.
Only some days left and it will be the start of the 2024-2025 school academic year in Cameroon. The country's educational community is working hard to ensure that classes can actually start without worries. Although timid, preparations are intensified in most cities and countrysides. The atmosphere in markets, schools and bookstores already hints at the imminent return of students to school. Things are not like last year, where we had enough textbooks. Parents come at times asking for textbooks which are not yet out. Last year, parents came here early enough because we had everything. But this time, things are very hard. Although schools, bookstores and educational material sales outlets are getting busy in response to the demand from parents and students, it is not yet a big turnout. Many parents are not yet ready for the moment. There is no back to school yet, madame. We are not yet ready for that. With this rain that is stopping us from doing our activities, it is really difficult. For me, I can't wait the last minute to buy books, bags for my children, because coming at the last minute, it might be too late. In Douala, street corners show stalls crowded with school supplies and other teaching materials. Tailoring workshops are also stocked with school outfits. I already have 8 commands for this year and it's preferable to start them now. Though it is difficult with the shortage in electricity supply, how are we supposed to do? I don't have any choice. While waiting for the beginning of the academic year on the 2nd of September 2024, parents are still waiting for resources which will help them purchase school necessities for their children.
And now we talk health. Despite the order of the Cameroon Medical Council prohibiting the sale of medications without doctor's prescription in pharmacies in the country, the activity continues to gain steam somehow. Our reporter Lucy Diengu visited some pharmacies in Yaoundé, the nation's political capital, and equally she spoke with the representative of the Cameroon Medical Council on what is a way forward. Her report.
The recent decision by the Cameroon Medical Council and National Order of Pharmacies regarding the prescription of medications has faced challenges with public compliance. Just like in other parts of the country, in Yaoundé, many still visit a pharmacy to purchase medications without a doctor's prescription. The case of this woman, though she has been served, the pharmacist cautioned her to always present a prescription. Dr. Vivian Ritanjoya, a pharmacist, explains they are considerate with some medications that do not require prescription because they have a low risk of misuse, such as some malaria medications and pomades, but for others, prescription is necessary. A month after the order of no medication without prescription, the activity is still gaining grounds, though an official from the Cameroon Medical Council says for a start it is satisfactory. In some drugstores in the town of Yaoundé, where we sent anonymous patients with no medical order, they were sent away. The organization continues to highlight the importance of prescription before treatment to avoid auto-medication, misuse of drugs, delay in seeking medical help. However, in the days ahead, the Cameroon Medical Council promises new measures, such as distinguishing the limits of each medical personnel in drug prescription.
Now let's talk culture. In the latest wave of clash of interest between the church and African traditional stakeholders, some traditional rulers in the northwest region say their culture is faced with appropriation from the church. In a letter addressed to the Vatican, recently the custodians of tradition say the Catholic Church has crossed the limit by incorporating elements of the Wimbum secret traditional societies into the church's procession, as seen in Bamenda lately. For me, Armstrong Sander tells us more.
This amateur video, captured in a local Catholic church in Bamenda, is the straw that broke the camel's back, according to the traditional rulers and dignitaries of the region. An onlooker will think that he was in a traditional fandom procession, but no, we are rather in a Catholic church in the capital city of the Northwest region, where certain traditional title holders decided to make a spectacular performance adorned with their traditional attributes. This moral procession in church did not sync well with cultural conservatives of the Wimwom community in the Donga Mountain division of the region. They described this action as cultural appropriation. In a determined effort to protect their sacred heritage, leaders of the Wimwom community published 2 critical letters, one addressed to the Vatican, in which they condemned the use of tools of the secret societies of the Wimwom people, notably the Mwarong, the Mfu, the Samba and the Njo in church, thus urging the Catholic Church to respect, limit and prohibit the use of their traditional attributes by Christians. In the second letter, these custodians of the tradition issued an order to all the Wimwom sons and daughters explicitly prohibiting participation in any ecclesial activity compromising their cultural integrity at the risk of being severely sanctioned. A challenging outing that raises curiosity on the importance of bringing in aspects of the African culture to the modern day church.
It is not a shame. It is not a shame for us to celebrate God with our culture. The Word was made flesh and He lived among us. According to this word, we have to celebrate God as African with all our culture, with all that we consider that is good inside our culture, because it is God's will. All these cultures comes from God. We don't have to deny our culture. Never.
The ongoing conflict simply, however, adds to many others which have often pitted the Catholic Church against traditional authorities in this region of Cameroon.
We will be talking more on that in the second part of the news. Now we take you out of the country. At least 13 people have been killed in Nigeria during a mass protest against the country's economic crisis. Meanwhile, in Kenya and the Central African Republic, those countries have declared new cases of monkeypox. Let's now have more of the stories with Cedric Chakutu.
Authorities confirmed 4 people killed by a bomb.
And we are not going to stop until every Nigerian can live comfortably in Nigeria. We are not going to stop until we in Nigeria, we Nigerians living in Nigeria, enjoy similar life or a better life than even countries across the world who don't have half of the resources that we have.
Nigeria's public officials, frequently accused of corruption, are among the best paid in Africa, a stark contrast in a country that has some of the world's poorest and hungriest people, despite being one of the continent's top oil producers. Elsewhere, Kenya and the Central African Republic have declared new outbreaks of monkeypox as African health officials scramble to stem the spread of the disease in a region lacking vaccines. Nairobi announced a new outbreak on Wednesday after a case was detected in a passenger traveling from Uganda to Rwanda at a border post in southern Kenya. The Central African Republic was the first to declare a new outbreak on Monday, saying it was spreading to its capital, Bangui. Monkeypox is a viral infection which can spread between people and occasionally from the environment to people via things and surfaces that have been touched by an infected person. In settings where the virus is present among some wild animals, it can also be transmitted from infected animals to people who have contact with them. Andrea Agi Eric Maliot, the community's Deputy Secretary General, urged the group's partner states on Monday to provide necessary information on the disease and take preventive measures.
And now let's talk sports. The president of the Athletics Federation says his 2 elements at the Olympic Games, Emmanuel Eseme Alobede and Linda Angunu, will deliver for Team Cameroon this weekend. Emmanuel Motombi Mome was speaking as he received the athletes to encourage them ahead of their participation. Smaljikan Gabriel has the details.
Final tete-a-tete between the officials of the Athletics Federation and SMA Emmanuel Alogbede alongside Linda Angunu before they get into the Olympic Games. The gathering was an occasion for the president to call on Cameroonians to put the two athletes who are medal hopefuls for Cameroon in their prayers. We are privileged because Cameroon is one of the countries here in Paris. The fastest man is from the southwest region, Emmanuel Eseme Alogbede, and he will be in action this Saturday. Everyone here wants to defeat him, but we are praying for him. Since he's called 404, he will run with a full tank. After Eseme, on Sunday, Linda will also be in action. We know they didn't come here to joke, and we are calling on Cameroonians to put them in prayers. Emmanuel Alogbede, who will be competing in the 100 meters men race this weekend, begins his adventure in the Olympic Games, and he promises not to disappoint. We are here for the competition, and always we promise to represent the country honorably and not to disappoint those who are here to support us. Linda Angunu will also have her baptism of fire in the Olympic Games when she takes part in the heats of the 400 meters women's hurdles on Sunday. She was delighted with the visit of the officials. Honestly, it's encouraging to see the head of the federation and athletics icons displacing themselves just to come and support us. The two were handed trophies for their performance this far by the president of the federation, Motombi Mbome Emmanuel. Cameroon now counts on these athletes: Emmanuel Eseme Alogbede, Linda Angunu, and Ngwelo Mabe Manuela Grass, after the elimination of one of the flag bearers, Richel Anita Sopimbela, in the more than 78 kilogram judo bout against Japanese Sone Akira earlier on Friday.
And that does it for the first part of the news. Thank you, viewers, for being there. Don't go away. Talking Point comes up next. Welcome back, viewers. Tonight we will be discussing the differences between the Catholic Church and some traditional authorities in the Northwest and West regions, respectively, lately. And our guest tonight is an advocate of the African traditional religion, Tanfomi Ike. He is a Wimbu notable. Thank you, sir, for accepting to talk to us on Equinoxe Television tonight. Now, I mentioned a while ago that you are a Cameroonian, a title holder, and an advocate of African traditional religion. Now, tell us in real terms what African traditional religion is all about.
Thank you very much, Abila, for having me on the air. I thank also the organization of Equinoxe Television. Yeah, that is a great question. Where was African traditional religion before now? Yes, African tradition is as old as African indigenous people have existed on the planet Earth. They have been practicing up till today. They are still very religious, but now they are increasingly more religious because they are realizing the relevance of their religion to their own lives. They have also compared, they have had the opportunity to compare African traditional religion with other foreign religions that have come, and they are able to make the difference now and choose their own African religion. Now, before now, when the other religions came, like Islam and Christianity, they actually lured our great-parents to forgetting about their indigenous religions. They forgot about African religion. And then they joined Christianity, they joined Islam, they joined, and some even joined by force. But now there is a reawakening, there's a renaissance. We are there to research, we are here now to recover, and we are here to revive. And the next thing we are doing is promoting African traditional religion in every sphere. Everybody has realized the relevance of going back to their roots. They have lost their identities in the other religions that came. and then usurped their sense of belonging to the divine. Now we have a better connection to the divine. We are able to access it. We have surety now that African traditional religions were indeed good ways of connecting with the.
That's right for me, but just also mentions that the church has contributed enormously in the education and health sectors of Africa. Now coming back to the differences between the church and traditional authorities in Cameroon lately, we have seen a letter from the Wimbum community to the Vatican. That is after the chiefs from the West region also had some issues with the Catholic Church in that area. The Wimbum people talk of cultural appropriation. Can you tell us more about your complaint to the Vatican?
Oh, Abila, we have written to the Vatican, and our writing to the Vatican is to call the Vatican's attention. The priests, the fathers of the church, we want to call their attention to the fact that incorporation that they want to do from a very genuine, honest, good religious perspective has been received in Africa and is now moving away from respectful boundaries. By respectful boundaries, we mean that in exercising inculturation, they wouldn't want to desecrate the other things of God. If at all, we are worshiping the same God. We are asking the papacy to cause a rethinking, to cause the African churches to understand that they can go on and do inculturation without desecrating our traditions, because our traditions were consecrated by the same God. And so we do not want to desecrate the church traditions. And two, we therefore do not want the church to desecrate our traditional practices, our artifacts, our ways of doing life in the sacred traditional societies.
Tell for me, why at this moment is the Christian church, especially the Catholic Church, coming under attack from traditionalists like yourself in Cameroon or in Africa as a whole?
Oh, no, Mrs. Abela. Maybe in the same way like people are getting it wrong. African traditional religionists are not actually attacking the church. They are actually asking the church to stay in their lane. We are not attacking the Christian church or the Islamic church or any religion that has come to our land in Africa. We are actually advising that in order that we may live together as we used to live together, in order that we may collaborate on common interest, they should maintain their lanes of religious practice so that they do not encroach, just the same as traditionalists do not want to encroach in church practices.
And now this question before we go, sir. Is it really possible for the African traditional religion to cohabit properly without any issue with the Christian religion or any other religion in a purely African setting or society? Yes, sir, if you can get me time for me. We will want to know, can the African traditional religion cohabit with the Christian religion or any other religion in a purely African setting like ours?
Asking that question, and it is a very important question. Yes, African traditionalists have always collaborated with Christianity and with Islam. We have had instances where they have come to beg for land. We have given them to plant school, to plant hospital, to build churches. They have come, and then they have been able to, we have been able to collaborate in building bridges. In doing all this, our traditionalists even sent out the sacred juju to cause people to carry stone and sand for buildings of church buildings. We have done that. and in a collaborative manner, in a very respectful manner. And then we expected reciprocal respect. We expected that the church should at least collaborate with us on common interest. Instead, we are embarrassed that the churches are desecrating the traditions of the locals. This is something that we do not like. We like harmony, we like collaboration, we like everything of that sort. Thank you. Anything that brings unity. If we are brothers keepers, yes, if we truly are worshiping the same God, then we are brothers and sisters together, and so we must collaborate.
Thank you, Time for me, Ike, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. And you are a Wimboom notable, talking to us from New York in America. Viewers, thank you so much for always being there. Thank you for the confidence. Our programs continue this Friday. Equinoxe will live from Yaoundé in about 30 minutes or so with Gizogo. And Irish Ngonomala will be in the studio for the news in the French language. That would be at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your weekend in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.